William Montgomery's quantum spurs hummed softly against the red dirt as he lowered his brass spotter's scope. The approaching destroyer fleet bloomed across the stars like deadly flowers. "How bad, Dad?" Matthew asked, Bill's eldest son dropping to a knee beside him on the ridge. "Worst I've ever seen," Bill replied, his weathered face grim beneath his worn Stetson. 15 years retired from the Texas Knights, the 65-year-old church elder still wore his quantum armor when serving as captain of the 7th White Rock Volunteers Militia. 3 million ships, 2 billion troops. Colonel Anderson's activated the Alamo Protocol. Matthew whistled low. "White Rock's right in their path, isn't it?" Bill nodded. Tactical display showing projected landing zones. Eastern approach to Austin City. If they want to flank the capital, they'll come through our valley. His comm unit chimed with orders from Colonial Command. "Round up your brothers and sisters," Bill told Matthew. "Meet me at the church in 30 minutes, full combat load." As his eldest departed, Bill surveyed peaceful White Rock Valley below. 5,000 souls who'd carved out a life on New Oklahoma's frontier. The church steeple stood tall against the red hills, the first building erected when settlers arrived 70 years ago. "Lord," he whispered, "give us strength for what's coming." His quantum spurs flared briefly as if in response. The church sanctuary buzzed with activity, pews pushed aside for tactical displays, weapons stacked near the altar. 112 militia members assembled, farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, ranchers, preparing to defend their homes. Pastor David Elliott wrung his hands as he watched the military preparations. The young minister from New Harmony had served the church only 3 years. His gentle demeanor and scholarly ways a stark contrast to the frontier spirit of his congregation. "Elder Montgomery," he greeted Bill, his voice carrying the educated accent of inner colonies. "I understand the necessity, but it pains me to see the Lord's house turned to such purpose." "The Lord's house serves the Lord's people, Pastor," Bill said kindly. "Tonight, that service means shelter and a command post." The pastor nodded reluctantly. "How can I help? I'm no fighter." "The wounded will need comfort," Bill replied. "A shepherd's work doesn't stop because wolves are at the door." Before they could continue, the church doors opened as Bill's 8 children arrived together. All 8 of the Montgomery clan, aged 16 to 26, filed in with purposeful strides. Each carried their personal weapons, a mix of rifles, shotguns, and sidearms that reflected New Oklahoma's strong belief in the right to keep and bear arms. Matthew led the group, flanked by his brothers Mark, 24, Luke, 22, John, 20, and James, 18. Behind them came Bill's daughters, Rebecca, 25, Ruth, 23, and Abigail, 16. Since their mother's death a decade ago, Bill had raised them to be both devout and self-reliant, skills that would now be tested to their limits. "Is it true, Dad?" asked Abigail, his youngest. Despite her age, she carried herself with confidence, her hunting rifle no toy in her capable hands. "It's true," Bill confirmed. "Destroyers are coming, and White Rock is in their path." "We're ready," Matthew said for all of them. "We're Montgomerys. We stand our ground." Bill briefed his militia on the dire situation: Colonial Army defending major population centers, Marines establishing rapid response positions, active Knights serving as force multipliers in critical areas. "And us?" asked Samuel Johnson, the town's blacksmith and Bill's second-in-command. "We hold this valley," Bill replied simply. "Keep the destroyers from flanking Austin City." He assigned positions along natural defensive features. Emily Taylor's heavy weapons team to the northern ridge, Samuel's rifle teams covering the valley floor, Thomas Wright's scouts providing early warning from the eastern canyons. "My family will serve as our mobile reserve," Bill added. "The Montgomerys will reinforce wherever the fighting is heaviest." As the militia filed out to their positions, Bill noticed Pastor Elliott's troubled expression. "Pastor, I know this goes against much of what you believe," Bill said quietly, "but sometimes standing against evil requires more than words and prayers. "I understand the necessity," the younger man replied. "I just wish there was another way." "So do I," Bill agreed. "But right now I need you to focus on your calling. There will be wounded needing spiritual comfort. Can you do that?" The pastor straightened, finding resolve. Yes, I can." Bill rejoined his children at the church doors, issuing assignments. Matthew and Mark with him on central position, Luke and John reinforcing Samuel's rifle teams, James joining the scouts with his sharp eyes, Rebecca and Ruth coordinating with heavy weapons, Abigail establishing communications from the church tower. His youngest daughter lifted her chin proudly at being given responsibility rather than sent to the bunker. "I won't let you down, Dad." "I know you won't, little one," he said. "None of you will. You're Montgomerys." Dawn broke blood red as destroyer dropships burned through New Oklahoma's atmosphere. Bill watched from his command position as the planetary defense network engaged. Thousands of independent batteries firing with the chaotic unpredictability that came from distributed, citizen-owned defense systems. Through his night-issue tactical visor, Bill could see dropships exploding mid-air. But for every ship destroyed, many more pushed through. Soon landing craft descended toward White Rock Valley. "Hold!" Bill ordered as insectoid troops emerged from the ships. "Wait until they're fully deployed." His militia and family waited silently as more destroyers formed into assault units, completely unaware of the defensive positions surrounding them. "Now!" Bill ordered, his quantum spurs flaring. The valley erupted with firepower. High-caliber rounds, plasma bolts, and energy beams tore into the destroyer ranks from multiple angles. Unlike the precisely coordinated fire of professional military units, this was the overwhelming volume of fire that characterized militia tactics. So many independent shooters that patterns were impossible to predict. Bill could distinguish his children's weapons by sound alone. Mark's sniper rifle cracking from the ridgeline, Luke and John's coordinated fire from their positions with Samuel's team, the distinctive thump of Ruth's grenade launchers supporting the heavy weapons platoon. From the church tower, Abigail's voice provided calm coordination. "Second wave incoming, northwest quadrant, heavy weapons, adjust 3 degrees east." 2 destroyer dropships collapsed under Emily's missile barrage, their organic components dissolving. Rebecca's voice came over the comm, professionally calm. "Confirmed kills on dropships 3 and 4. Ruth has visual on troops deploying from 5 and 6. Shift positions," Bill ordered as destroyer return fire zeroed in on their locations. His retired knight armor responded to his movements as he drew his sidearm, a traditional .45 caliber handgun loaded with quantum disruption rounds. Matthew fought at his side, the young man's marksmanship reflecting years of hunting New Oklahoma's dangerous wildlife. For 3 hours, the White Rock militia held their valley against wave after wave of attacks. They suffered losses. Good people Bill had known as neighbors and fellow church members, but made the enemy pay 100-fold for each defender fallen. "Dad," came James's urgent voice. "Scout team reports a new landing zone behind the church. At least 300 destroyers dropping in our rear." Bill's heart clenched. The church wasn't just their command center. It was where Pastor Elliott was tending the wounded, where Abigail was coordinating communications from the bell tower. "Matthew, have Samuel hold this position," Bill ordered. "Montgomery family, converge on the church. Priority is protecting the wounded." Bill's armor pushed him to speeds impossible for a normal man his age, covering ground in quantum-enhanced strides. As they crested the final ridge, he saw the church under direct attack. Destroyer dropships had landed in the cemetery, disgorging troops converging on the building from all sides. In the bell tower, Abigail calmly continued coordinating while picking off destroyers with precise shots from her hunting rifle. Through the church windows, wounded militia members fired with whatever weapons they could handle. Pastor Elliott's voice came over the comm frequency, remarkably steady for a man who'd expressed distaste for violence hours earlier. "This is Pastor Elliot. We have 23 wounded who cannot be moved quickly. I am requesting immediate assistance." A pause. Weapons fire in the background. "And if it's not too much trouble, additional ammunition would be appreciated." "Hold tight, Pastor," Bill replied. "The Montgomerys are coming." Bill's quantum spurs disrupted the destroyer's coordination as he moved among them, each step creating interference in their hive-mind communication. Matthew fought at his side. His rifle work precise and devastating. One by one, Bill's other children arrived from different directions. Mark and Luke appeared as a sniper spotter team. Rebecca and Ruth brought extra ammunition and medical supplies. John and James completed the family circle with a liberated destroyer plasma cannon between them. The Montgomery family formed a defensive perimeter around the church entrance, covering Pastor Elliot and Samuel Johnson as they evacuated the wounded to more defensible positions inside. When a particularly large destroyer broke through their fire and charged at Ruth, Bill moved without thinking. His quantum-enhanced leap carried him into the creature's path, his armor taking an impact that would have killed his daughter instantly. The blow sent Bill crashing against the church wall, damage indicators flashing across his visor. As the destroyer loomed over him, 3 synchronized shots rang out, Mark from the ridgeline, Abigail from the bell tower, and Matthew from nearby. The destroyer collapsed, its critical junctions destroyed by the coordinated fire. "Dad!" Ruth was instantly at his side. "Just some dents in old armor," Bill assured her, though pain lanced through his cracked ribs. "Nothing a Montgomery can't handle." By midday, the situation had grown desperate across New Oklahoma. Bill's tactical display showed destroyer breakthrough points in multiple sectors. "All militia units," came Colonel Anderson's voice over the command channel. "Destroyer main force has breached Austin City's outer defenses. We are activating the big gun. Hold your positions at all costs." "Acknowledged," Bill replied. "White Rock militia holding eastern approach. We'll give you the time you need." He turned to his children, gathered around him outside the church. Each bore wounds and exhaustion, but their eyes remained determined. Montgomery eyes, reflecting his own stubborn refusal to yield. "You heard the colonel," Bill said. "The big guns are powering up. We need to hold this position." "How long, Dad?" Matthew asked, reloading with dwindling ammunition. Bill glanced at thousands of destroyers converging on their position. "However long it takes. The fate of New Oklahoma depends on it." From the church doorway, Pastor Elliot emerged, his clerical collar blood-stained, a borrowed pistol in hand. "Elder Montgomery," he called. "The wounded are stabilized. How can I help?" Bill regarded the pastor with newfound respect. The man had found courage in crisis. Not in combat, but in caring for others under fire. "Keep them safe inside, Pastor," Bill replied. "And maybe spare a prayer for what's coming." The destroyers intensified their assault. Bill's militia and family met them with everything they had left: courage, determination, and the refusal to yield that had characterized Texans since time immemorial. All 8 Montgomery children formed a defensive line with their father, a family united not just by blood, but by purpose. When Luke took a hit, John and James covered him while Rebecca treated his wound. When Abigail's rifle ran dry, Ruth tossed her a spare sidearm. When Mark's position was overrun, Matthew extracted his brother with practiced efficiency. Then the sky changed. Destroyer ships began falling from orbit in impossible numbers. The quantum disruption cascaded through the ground forces, their perfect coordination dissolving into chaos. "The big guns," Matthew breathed in awe. "They actually fired them." "Push them back," Bill ordered, his quantum spurs blazing as he led his family in a counterattack against the suddenly disorganized enemy. 1 week later, Bill Montgomery sat in the front pew of White Rock Community Church, his armor replaced by Sunday best, though bandages showed beneath his collar. Around him sat his 8 children, similarly dressed despite various injuries. The church had been restored, pews returned, bloodstains scrubbed away, tactical displays removed. Only bullet holes in the stained glass and scorch marks on the altar evidenced the desperate battle fought there. Pastor Eliot stood at the pulpit, transformed by the crucible of invasion. The gentle scholar remained, but a new steadiness had entered his bearing. "Today's scripture comes from the book of Psalms," he began. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." He looked out at faces that had seen that valley firsthand. "I came to you from New Harmony, where peace is prized above all else. I brought with me a faith that spoke of turning the other cheek." He paused. "But I have learned that sometimes love for one's neighbors means standing between them and harm." The pastor gestured to the Montgomery family. "I watched Elder Montgomery and his children place themselves in harm's way to protect our wounded. I saw in their actions not bloodlust, but the purest form of love, the willingness to sacrifice for others." Bill felt his children's hands find his own, forming an unbroken Montgomery line in the pew. "Our community stands today because of ancient principles carried from Earth, Texas, across the stars," Pastor Eliot continued. "That free citizens have the responsibility to defend their liberty, that families stand together against threats no individual can face alone." He gestured to the damaged window depicting the Alamo. "History will record that New Oklahoma was saved by the big guns in quantum technology, but those of us who are here know that New Oklahoma was saved by families like the Montgomerys, willing to stand together in the face of overwhelming odds." As the congregation rose to sing Amazing Grace, Bill looked at his 8 children beside him. Each had risked everything to defend their home. Each had proven worthy of the Montgomery name. In orbit above, debris from the greatest invasion force ever assembled continued to rain down, a cosmic reminder that some equations can't be solved by numbers alone. Some require faith, courage, and family. And perhaps, Bill thought as his children's voices joined in song, the love of a father for his children and their determination to make him proud. Quantum spurs and all. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Video shares, memberships, and super thanks help the channel grow as well, so feel free to partner with this channel in that way as we grow. With that all said, thank you again for listening to the story, and thank you for your time. On the left side of your screen are some videos I think you might be interested in. I hope to see you in the next one.